Om Brahmanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Ganganasadrisham Tattvamasyadilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadi Sakshibhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami.
Dear Seeker of Truth, welcome. This work that we are going to talk about is one of the most sacred dialogues because it happens between two enlightened beings. One is Ashtavakra, the other is King Janaka, which was Ashtavakara's disciple. So in it you will have a glimpse of the instruction of an enlightened being so that you can achieve liberation, and also the vision of how a liberated being stands, acts, what is his experience. So pay attention to these teachings, fill your heart with surrender, devotion, sacredness, because that is the way to enjoy it the most. May it blossom in your heart. May you also find liberation. Moving on, Ashtavakra Samhita, chapter 17th, the true knower, verse 11. So the liberated one is always found abiding in the self, and he is pure in heart. He lives free from all desires under all circumstances. So the liberated one is always abiding in the self and is pure in heart, no malice. To be an awakened one, his heart must be fully purified. And he lives free from all desires under all circumstances. It doesn't matter if it is in a palace or in the jungle. It doesn't make any difference what the body seems to be doing. He has no desires. Either it doesn't matter if he is experience different things or not. The body, in this case, he has no desires for it. Everything just flows naturally. But he's always, no matter what circumstances, he is always abiding in the self and always pure in heart. Seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, taking, speaking, and walking, the great soul one, free from all effects, from all efforts and non-efforts, is verily emancipated. So whatever the body is doing, he is not making an effort, and he is not avoiding effort also. He is verily emancipated. So the body is just fulfilling his natural prarabdha karma. There is no effort, and he is not trying also to avoid any effort. He is not the body anymore, has realized itself. So the body just continues as it were, but he is always dwelling in the self. The liberated one neither slanders nor praises. He neither rejoices nor he is angry. He neither gives nor takes. He is free from attachment to all objects. Because he has no relation with the world whatsoever. He has transcended the world. He has no desires for the world. He has no desires for specific outcomes. He knows that whatever appears to be happening is just an illusion, and it will flow according to its own nature. He has nothing to gain nor to lose with that. You don't think of some things as better than other things. Everything is same, everything is he. The great souled one is not perturbed and remains self-poised at the sight of a woman full of love as well as of approaching death. He is indeed liberated. So let's say that the great souled one is not perturbed and remains self-poised at the sight of the opposite sex that comes full of love as well as of approaching death. These are two instances where people lose their balance at the proximity of someone they care about romantically or in the time of death. So he is not perturbed and remains self-poised in these situations. Because he doesn't have desire, nor does he have attachment to the life of the body. So these are just two circumstances. There are others, but the principle is the same. Either very good or very bad, he remains self-poised. The steady one, who sees the same everywhere, sees no difference between happiness and misery, man and woman, and prosperity and adversity. The steady one, the one that has established himself in the self, sees no difference between happiness and misery. They are just states, illusory states of the body and the mind. That's all. A man or a woman, and prosperity and adversity. It is all the same. It is all he. And in a sense, it is all illusion. In the wise one, whose worldly life is exhausted and who has transcended the limitations of human nature, there is neither compassion nor any desire to harm, neither humility nor insolence, neither wonder nor mental disturbance. So the wise one, whose worldly life is exhausted, worldly life has been exhausted, doesn't exist anymore, and who has transcended the limitations of human nature. So first, human life is exhausted, worldly life is exhausted, then there is transcending the limitations of human nature, and that is the forces that drag the human mind towards investments in sense pleasures and all the things which are worldly. So more or less they come together. So for this one who is enlightened, there is neither compassion, because there is nothing bad happening. There's no one that deserves compassion. It's just him everywhere. Nor any desire to harm. There's also no desire to harm, no desire to be compassionate. Neither humility or insolence, neither wonder nor mental disturbance. It's just the body's actions, the body acting according to its own prarabdha karma. There's not the individual anymore that puts intention on those actions, motivated by desire, of course. The liberated one neither abhors the objects of the senses nor craves for them. Ever with a detached mind, he experiences them as they come. So again, everything which is concerning the body is just happening on its own according to the prarabdha karma. He is always unaffected by this. So, and he has no relationship with the objects of the senses, neither of aversion, not also of craving. They know they are unexistent, unimportant, so it is indifferent to them. So ever with a detached mind, he experienced them as they come. So whatever comes, it experiences them, but it's not craving for them, neither rejecting them. This also brings a lot of confusion to certain seekers that try to mimic this. But mimicking the behaviors is not a spiritual teaching, or else it would just mimic the behaviors of an enlightened one. That's not the case. And usually it's just an excuse to continue to enjoy things as they come. So the wise one of vacant mind knows not the conflict of contemplation and non-contemplation, good and evil. He abides, as it were, in the state of absoluteness. So all these things, contemplation, not contemplation, all this breeds duality, good and evil, duality. So he abides, as it were, in the state of absoluteness, that state which transcends duality. So the wise one, a vacant mind, a mind that is vacant, is not searching, is not polarized, because it has dissolved, universe was transcended, duality has been transcended. So for him, there's not these conflicts of good and evil. Devoid of the feeling of I and mind and mine, knowing for certain that nothing is, and with all his inner desires set at rest, the man of knowledge does not act though he may be acting. So, devoid of the feeling of I and mine, this is in relation to the body, as the body being I, and things pertaining to that body being mine. Knowing for certain that nothing is, knowing for certain that nothing is, that nothing exists, only the self-realized one knows for certain. With all his inner desires set at rest, have been dissolved, there's no more desires. The man of knowledge does not act though he may be acting. The man of knowledge, the self-realized one, the one who has transcended duality, the body is acting. He is not acting, it's the body is acting. So this is why they say, it says here, does not act though he may be acting. So he is not acting, but the body may be acting, and he is not the body. And last, An indescribable state is attained by the wise one whose mind has melted away, its functions having ceased to operate, and who is free from delusion, dreaming, and dullness. So the enlightened one has been purged from all illusion. And that is indescribable state. It's indescribable because it is beyond the mind. What can be described is something that pertains into the realm of the mind. And whose mind has melted away, self-realization, mind dissolves into the self, its functions having ceased to operate, and who is free from delusion, dreaming, and dullness, the states of the body. And that is the magnificent and the absolute state, not a state anymore, just the real nature. And here so ends the chapter about the true knower.
Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.